Hello, this is the Meyer Group 1, Team 2 Biopure case study. Team members include Andre Cisneros, Barbara Girolimon, Brian Methner, and David Tucker. This case discusses the challenges Biopure faces in bringing two new products to the market. We will first begin with the facts of the case. Environment. Biomedical companies have an environmental concern that most companies don't. They must go through the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approval process to bring a product to market. This process involves taking the product through a series of testing. Phase 3 trials must prove that the product is both safe to use and effective for its intended purpose. Many products fail to make it through Phase 3 trials, and this can have disastrous effects on the company. Companies have suffered major restructuring or even bankruptcy when Phase 3 trials are halted due to safety concerns. Now, with an understanding of the difficult environment biomedical companies face in launching a product, we now turn to competitors. Biopure has two notable competitors. First, Northfield Laboratories. Northfield Laboratories is a small startup company formed only for the purpose of creating a human blood substitute product and have no other products on the market. They have built a small pilot manufacturing facility and have plans for a larger facility. Their product has just entered Phase 3 trials and is expected to take 2 or more years to complete. Next, Baxter International. Baxter International is a large biomedical company who has brought many successful products through the FDA approval process. They are very well funded and have constructed a large manufacturing facility in anticipation of FDA approval of their blood substitute product. This product entered Phase 3 trials nearly 2 years ago. Baxter recently revised their estimate of Phase 3 testing to take another 2 years, which resulted in a 10% drop in Baxter's stock price. This helps to demonstrate the uncertainty of the approval process and the resulting damage it can have on a company. Let's now turn our attention to Biopure. Biopure is a small, privately owned company funded by venture capital with the potential of going public soon. They have spent $200 million on the development of a blood replacement product. Initially, they intended the product for human use only, but realized there was potential for veterinary use as well. They have developed 2 products, oxyglobin for dogs and a Hemopure for humans, and are taking the products through the FDA approval process now. Biopure has constructed a manufacturing facility in anticipation of FDA approval. The annual capacity of this operation is 300,000 units of oxyglobin or 150,000 units of Hemopure. Biopure does not have any revenue at this time, but has $50 million in recent venture capital funding. They hope that these funds will take them through the full approval process of both products. In further discussing Biopure's products, let's begin with Hemopure. Hemopure was developed for human blood substitute and is different from competitor products in that it is based on bovine or cattle blood. The competitors are using human blood, which has a much higher unit cost for production. Biopure's product is also different in that it does not require refrigeration and is shelf stable. Hemopure is not in Phase 3 trials yet, but is expected to enter testing soon, and Biopure is hoping they will obtain FDA approval within 2 years. Biopure expects the price of their human product similar to the expected competitor pricing of $600 to $800 per unit. Now, let's turn our attention to oxyglobin. Oxyglobin is the same as the Hemopure product, except it needs one less processing step. Oxyglobin is targeted to the veterinary market, and in particular for use in dogs. Biopure is not sure of the pricing model for oxyglobin because of the price sensitivity of the veterinary market. There is an untapped potential for a blood product since many dogs could benefit, but very few receive transfusions. Most importantly, oxyglobin has passed Phase 3 FDA trials and is now approved for the market. With an understanding of Hemopure and oxyglobin, that brings us to the problem presented in the case. Oxyglobin was developed as an afterthought, with Hemopure as the intended flagship product for Biopure. However, Hemopure has not even entered Phase 3 trials yet, and oxyglobin has been approved by the FDA. The decision Biopure faces is to take oxyglobin to the market now, or wait for FDA approval of Hemopure, and take both products to the market together in the future. We believe production of a blood substitute product for the veterinary market is a core competency of Biopure and should be launched now at a premium price. In order to come to this conclusion, we analyzed whether oxyglobin provides Biopure with the following: a disproportionate contribution to the value proposition, a source of competitive differentiation, a way to enter a new market and defend future existing markets, and is oxyglobin a resource for Biopure that is VRIN, valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable. Value proposition. First, oxyglobin contributes to the value proposition in the following ways. Oxyglobin is a unique innovation, as it is the only blood substitute currently available for dogs. Oxyglobin also increases the blood supply available for dog transfusions, as it does not rely on drawing blood from other dogs, nor does it require time and resources of the veterinarian. In addition, it has a long storage life, does not require refrigeration, and a single bag of oxyglobin is the equivalent to a pint of blood. The market data supports providing oxyglobin as a new premium product. In a study conducted in 1995, it was shown that only 20 dogs out of 800, or 2.5%, received a blood transfusion, when 240 of the 800 dogs, or 30%, could have benefited from such transfusion. In addition, based on another study of 200 dog owners, Biopure learned that a premium price of $400 per unit for a blood substitute would be purchased in 30% of non-critical cases, which is 60 out of 200 cases, and 65% of critical cases, which is 130 out of 200 cases. The bottom line was even priced at a premium of $400 per unit. Dog owners' demand has indicated that 60 out of 200 non-critical cases plus 130 out of 200 critical cases would decide to use oxyglobin. This is significantly higher rate than the 5 out of 200 critical cases where oxyglobin was not an option. Additionally, oxyglobin is a source of competitive differentiation for Biopure. Oxyglobin's success builds credibility and trust in Biopure, which could increase the public's trust in other company products, such as Hemopure. The data that would be captured from the use of oxyglobin can be mined to provide knowledge about blood substitutes, marketing, and business strategy to afford Biopure with a competitive advantage. The opportunity exists to create a perception that Biopure is far ahead of their competitors, and therefore superior because they have an FDA-approved product. The successful use of oxyglobin in dogs may build further confidence in Biopure's manufacturing processes, which could help along the FDA approval process of Hemopure. The premium pricing of oxyglobin will help to set expectations that Biopure provides premium products, which reduces the risk of oxyglobin cutting into the price of Hemopure. Oxyglobin is also a resource that may be used by Biopure to enter and defend markets. Oxyglobin creates a new market for blood substitutes for dogs. Oxyglobin is the first to market with this product and has no competition. In addition, Biopure is the only company pursuing the veterinary market. Biopure has a head start, and oxyglobin could be the key to expanding further into the veterinary market. For example, oxyglobin could leverage into other mass-market pet categories, such as cats. Oxyglobin provides Biopure with significant barriers to entry and sustainable competitive advantage in 3 ways. First, a supply advantage. A superior high-end manufacturing process for purification and modification. Lower costs due to the use of a readily available resource, cattle blood. And a privileged 2 to 5 year access to the blood substitute market due to the long FDA approval process. Second, there is a demand advantage gained from veterinarians developing a habit of using the oxyglobin brand, and the lack of substitutes and the cost and time saved by veterinarians not using real dog blood. Finally, oxyglobin provides economies of scale by creating an average cost per unit decline as the volume of sales of oxyglobin increases, and since there are no blood substitute competitors, oxyglobin can be sold at a premium price. Oxyglobin is a VRIN resource for Biopure. It is valuable to veterinarians and dog owners because it is readily available, reduces the time and cost of drawing and storing blood from dogs, and creates a profit center for critical care veterinary practices. Oxyglobin is rare because it will be the first to market and the only blood substitute for dogs that is available. Additionally, it is inevitable because the creation of oxyglobin requires a patentable process for purification and modification of cattle blood that is approved by the FDA, and no competitor can create an imitation product without waiting 2 to 5 years for FDA approval. Finally, oxyglobin is non-substitutable because the only available substitute is the drawing of actual dog blood, which is expensive and time-consuming for veterinarians. Now, let's look at the market data for oxyglobin and potential demand. The veterinary market in the U.S. consists of 15,000 practices, from which 95% are only primary care, and the remaining 5% are emergency care. The target market for oxyglobin is the emergency care practices that perform about 75% of all the major surgeries for primary care practices. In average, each practice receives 800 cases per year suffering from acute blood loss. From those 800 cases, about 30%, or 240, would benefit from a blood transfusion. In the current market, due to the limited availability of canine blood, only 2.5%, or 20 cases, receive a blood transfusion. Therefore, there is a potential market of 220 cases for a blood substitute such as oxyglobin. Now, let's turn our attention to a 3-year profit and loss projection at a 400 unit sale price. Biopure has spent over $200 million in the research and development of both oxyglobin and Hemopure. The revenue that could be generated by the launch of oxyglobin would guarantee the company's operations for the next 3 years while waiting for the approval of Hemopure. Based on the projected demand, Biopure will sell 600,000 units of oxyglobin per year at a sale price of $400 each. This would generate a net sales of $120 million. Biopure has a variable cost of $1.50 per unit for a total of $900,000 per year. This is a competitive advantage over its competitors that could be spending upwards of $26 for each unit of blood. The fixed cost is $15 million, and the cost of having a network of national distributors is 30% of net sales. The annual EBITDA of $68 million is a convincing factor of the importance to release oxyglobin to the market. In arriving at our recommendations, we began with a SWOT analysis. Based on this analysis, we recommend launching oxyglobin immediately at a price of $400 per unit. In year 1, we would launch with independent distributors to achieve 100% coverage. Then, in year 2, transition to an internal sales force for cost reduction. We'd launch an extensive B2B marketing campaign, placing emphasis on the critical care market where less price sensitivity exists. We'd create a practitioner loyalty program as well as a veterinary rebate rewards program. We'd employ seasoned distributor reps and then transition to an internal sales force. These reps would be trained in issue sampling, product detailing, and creating roundtable discussions. The rationale behind our recommendations are as follows. Launching oxyglobin now will generate capital, which will enable Biopure to pursue the successful trials and launch of Hemopure in the future. Oxyglobin has no competitors. The FDA represents a 2 to 5 year guaranteed barrier to entry. Since the demand is there, we price premium. Premium pricing will set the stage for an easier acceptance of Hemopure's anticipated pricing model. Premium pricing will also help Biopure differentiate oxyglobin as a new treatment option. Revenue generation will increase investor confidence and help with Biopure's burn rate in achieving its endpoints for Hemopure. Biopure will be on the map, and immediate launch would provide much-needed brand equity moving forward. Biopure does not know the fate of Hemopure. Survival depends on treating oxyglobin as its bread and butter. Let oxyglobin not only set the stage for Hemopure, but define Biopure as a viable entrant. Bringing oxyglobin to the market now does have some side effects. These side effects can both be positive and negative. However, the negative side effects can be remedied. The side effects and remedies include a lack of capacity to meet the demand of 1,185,000 units per year. At $400 per unit, manufacturing will be short by 585,000 units per year. The side effect of lack of capacity can both be positive and negative. On the positive side, lack of manufacturing capacity allows for continuous production to achieve higher efficiencies and lower costs. On the negative side, lack of production capacity represents a lost economic opportunity and is a risk to Biopure. The company would lose $234 million of potential revenue per year. The remedy is for $5 million to be included in oxyglobin's budget to increase capacity by 195,000 units per year. An increased capacity of 195,000 units per year meets Biopure's volume estimates at the end of the 3rd year of operations. Another side effect and remedy comes from the rebates that will be used to compensate veterinarians. In order to force the price of oxyglobin, veterinarians are given a $200 rebate only after they sell oxyglobin at a $400 per unit cost. The side effect to using a rebate can both be positive and negative. On the positive side, the rebate rewards veterinarians by compensating them well for selling oxyglobin and may push them to be advocates for the brand. However, on the negative side, if Biopure lowers the price after setting such a high expectation, then Biopure may have to keep veterinarian compensation high while taking a greater hit themselves on revenue. The remedy is for Biopure to disclose and set expectations to the sales force that the rebates will be high initially as Biopure needs to penetrate the market, but then the rebate amount may decrease over time. In year 2, Biopure intends to move to an internal sales force. In order to sell oxyglobin as a premium product, an internal sales force will need to be established that carefully crafts the sales message and educates the veterinarians. The side effect of moving to an internal sales force can both be positive and negative. On the positive side, Biopure will have greater control of the message through the sales force and can get direct feedback from veterinarians. However, on the negative side, Biopure does not currently have and has not managed a sales force before. This is a new project that will take time, money, and continued resources. The remedy is for Biopure to hire a VP of sales with past experience leading a sales department that sells premium products to professionals, such as veterinarians, and then leverage this person's experience to minimize the strain on Biopure's resources. In conclusion, Biopure should sell oxyglobin immediately at a premium price of $400 per unit. At $400 per unit, Biopure makes 2.6 times more EBITDA each year than selling it at the lower price of $200 per unit. In addition, at $400 per unit, Biopure's manufacturing facility is operating constantly at a full capacity, and further investment may be warranted to meet demand. Finally, at $400 per unit, oxyglobin is being sold at a premium price and will help create a premium price for Hemopure when it is ready to be sold.